here for an amazing reason. I was sitting at my office in May of 2004, and the phone rang, and the lady said, "Don't hang up, this is not a crank call." And I said, "Okay, go ahead." And she said, "I have to ask you 2 questions first, and then I can tell you why I'm calling." So I said, "Go ahead." She said, "Do you smoke?" I said, "No." "Do you belong to the National Rifle Association?" I said, "No, who is this?" She said, "Well, I'm calling from Gentle People Limited, and we're a spousal finding service in Boston, and we represent a violin player in Kent, Ohio, who would like to meet you. And if you liked him, would you move to Kent, Ohio?" Well, after I fell off my chair and got back on, I hadn't signed up with anybody like this. I was almost divorced. I'd been separated for 10 years. I'd lived in New York for 42 years. I was in New York for 9/11. I was born in Cleveland, so this conversation appealed to me, even though it was totally unexpected. I hadn't signed up with anybody. So she said, "I'll have him call you. His name is Edwin Gould." And he called up that night, and he had a funny sense of humor, doesn't he?
Yes, oh, for sure.
A wonderful deep voice and funny things to say, and he called up every night for 40 nights. So finally he said, "I need to meet you." And he said, "I'm coming to LaGuardia. I'll land on Friday night at 6 o'clock. And I said, "How will I know you?" He said, "I'll have on red tennis shoes." He always wore the red tennis shoes. So he came down the hall. I had already decided I liked him. There's a good idea to talk to somebody who, you don't know what they look like. I didn't even know he was 15 years older than I was. So that weekend we went to a concert I was playing in at Trinity School with an orchestra sort of like this, and we went to play music the next day at a quartet I was in, and we went to barge music, and that was fun, and another orchestra I was in, and anyway, we had a very nice time. So then he said, "You have to come to Ohio," and so I came to Ohio. Now his son is getting a little concerned. Who is Dad doing? So his son is there. Anyway, by the middle of July, I was totally convinced that this was the right thing to do. Now I have a daughter, and she was in Africa with Jane Goodall, and when she heard I was moving to Ohio, she called up and she said, Mom, what are you doing?"
Off your rocker.
Anyway, I moved here in July of '04. We got married in September of '05. It's been the best 7 years of my life. I've just thoroughly enjoyed it, and we play chamber music at our house every Sunday night, and then I joined the Stow Orchestra, and I just had a lovely, lovely time here. So if you get a chance to move somewhere for the call of music, it's generally a good idea.
Or love.
Yes, the love of music. Best thing I ever did.
I have more to that story, actually. I was not part of the Ohio Viola Society, but a friend of mine was. She invited me to a function that all the violists were getting together and playing symphony music like this. And while I was there, I met a very nice gentleman who was working at Kent State University named Edwin Gould. And this is probably 1999 or 2000. And he so nicely said, "Can I have your phone number? You're not far from me. I'd love to invite you to our Sunday night quartet." And I said that would be great. And so I came to a few of his quartets, not very many, and his late wife, offered us tea and biscuits afterward. It was just so sweet, and it was so much fun. And I wasn't able to go very often. I was newly married at the time, and so I hadn't seen him in a long while. Well, all of a sudden, someone new joined our orchestra, which happens on occasion, and she got to sit next to me right off the bat. We were stand partners for a while.
And you were pregnant.
Okay.
Yes.
First one or second? Well, the first one then, because you made him a baby blanket.
That's right.
And then made a baby blanket for my second. How awesome is this story? So she had been my stand partner, and then the concert came, and there was this wonderful Mr. Gould sitting in the front seat. So I went up to him and I said, "Hi, how you doing?" She shows up and she goes, "Have you met my husband?" Oh, are you kidding? I didn't know that. So my funny story about first hearing about the orchestra, had been around for about a year and a half or so, maybe 2 at most. I think it was just a year and a half. It was the second 4th of July concert during Stow Week. And a friend of mine was working at Children's Hospital and got in the elevator, and another girl from the orchestra got in the elevator as well with her instrument on her way to rehearsal that night. My friend says, "Do you play viola?" And she says, "Viola? No, but it's a violin. Do you?" She says, "No, but my friend Jennifer does."
That's how you came.
That's how I came. So I ended up with about 4 phone calls and 2 rehearsals before the first concert that I played, which was, I believe, the second Stow Pride Week concert that this orchestra ever did. Perfect. And that's how I joined.